Perfect revelation, the blueprint for a perfect society, impossible knowledge, the Human Rights Act, 20 million words, divine answers, the Qur'an collected, 700 commandments.
Quite hard. There's a lot of self-reflection involved in this.
Something we've never done before.
Assalamu alaikum. We are here with Razik Saab, who's going to show us around the exhibition. Razik Saab, could you please show us the different areas?
Yeah. Basically, for the exhibition this year, of course, we've got the theme of the Holy Qur'an, Casket of Jewels. And so what we've done is we've got a number of different areas showing the different aspects of the Holy Qur'an. We've got these screens that give you a taste of the whole exhibition. Over here, we start with the perfect revelation. This outlines how important it was, the way that it was revealed over the 23 years, enabling both accurate recording of and the ability for the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ to absorb their commandments into their daily lives. Then we have the blueprint for a perfect society, which delves into the fact that this is not a book of fables.
Yes.
This is actually a complete guide to our entire lives, community, any problems we have, the solutions are all right there for us to see.
Fantastic. So do you have some examples of some of the things that this goes over?
Yeah, so it's some of it's amazing. Obviously, the ones you'd expect, justice, human rights, but everything about relationships, charity, even the environment is actually covered. You know, they only just got to the environment, in the world today in society.
Absolutely.
And the Holy Quran had it 1400 years ago.
And I think that brings up a great point, which is the fact that the Holy Quran was brought up so many years ago, and yet everything in it is still so relevant today, right?
Yes, exactly. And that brings us nicely to the next section, which is impossible knowledge. So impossible knowledge really outlines some key examples. There's so many in the Holy Quran, scientific discoveries, facts that weren't discovered until a millennia later. 20th century, maybe 19th century. One I found particularly interesting is the formation of iron. The fact that iron is not native to the earth. It came from outer space. Okay. The Holy Quran has that in its text, and scientists discovered it in the 20th century. So,
and have you found that there has been links where scientists have accepted the fact that it was revealed in the Quran, or is there still some form of,
So some things are more clear-cut, like water-based life. It literally says we made from water every living thing.
Yes.
That's clear-cut. Nobody can argue with that. Fantastic. Obviously, there will always be some people that argue with some other ones, like iron was sent down to earth. Yeah. It's pretty clear to us, but some people will still
definitely
argue with that. So, but for the majority of people, any reasonable person can see that that is. But this is the beauty of the Holy Quran, where you have to delve deeply into. You have to study it to really understand it, because somebody millennia ago reading this would not have suddenly had an epiphany that this is going to exist, or this is the way this works. But through the study of it, and now we can see these are signs for us in the latter days of the truth of the Holy Quran.
Absolutely. And I think what's beautiful about seeing this is the fact that looking at these, as you mentioned, there's so many things that we wouldn't have realized previously. And I'm sure that there's so much more that's hidden in the Quran that we'll still be yet to find out about.
Absolutely, and that's what I love about putting something like this together. Is we learn so much by doing the research. And then it leads on to something a little bit interesting that we've done this time, which is we took the Human Rights Act in Europe and the UK, and we took each section from that Human Rights Act, and we've actually outlined how the Holy Quran already had that in its text. And just for comparison, when the UK, Europe, the earliest point we could find that there was even acknowledged as how we should treat human beings. And it's amazing. Like the Magna Carta, 1215 is the earliest, I think, of any of them. Some of these.
See, I think it's crazy when you put it in that perspective, because a lot of the times you hear all these grand numbers of how many years ago something was, but when you look at that, 1215, that's obviously a long time ago, and for it to be before that, it's incredible.
So then we've just got some interesting numbers. You've probably seen these numbers before, the parts, the surahs. One thing a little bit more interesting is this one. So you've got the number of words in the various religious scriptures.
Wow.
Start with the Buddhist texts. 20 million words.
Wow.
20 million. The Old Testament, 622,000 words. The Holy Quran, 77,000 words.
Incredible.
So it's really distilled all of the teachings, the complete guidance, And because it's 77,000 words, it's easy to learn, easy to remember, it's easy to memorize. I think that was one of the things about, right at the beginning we were talking about perfect revelation, that one of the things that we've called out on there is why it's been preserved is because we all memorize it.
Absolutely.
Every single Muslim memorizes portions of the Holy Quran. Some even have the full text memorized.
Exactly, yes.
And so by the time the Holy Prophet ﷺ passed away, there were hundreds of Muslims who had memorized the entire Holy Quran. And so how can you possibly change it if everybody knows what the text is? Just in front of us here, we've got Divine Answers and the Quran Collective.
Fantastic.
So in this booth here, so let's pull back the curtain.
Come on inside.
Show you all. We've actually got the touch screen. Basically, you answer questions. And then based on your answers, it will select a surah and then you can listen to that surah.
Should we give it a go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, so I've got the headphones on. So how would you describe your spiritual state right now? Aware of my shortcomings. It's interesting. I think this is quite hard. There's a lot of self-reflection involved in this. Let's go with this.
Getting some deep insight into your life here.
Yeah, I know. This is crazy. I feel very exposed right now. Okay, so now I've put in my answers. It's going to give me a verse from the Holy Quran. Is that right?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So in a few seconds, it's waiting for you to sit back in your chair comfortably.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So the other thing that we have in here is the Quran Collective. What we're doing is one person recites a portion of the Holy Quran and the next person. This is a form of like collective blessing. For the 700 commandments, we wanted to, give it the gravitas that it deserves.
Absolutely.
And so we went for a center column. And this is something we've never done before. So you can see you've got all of the 700 commandments. It's actually over 6 meters going around. You can see
incredible.
The size
it doesn't look like 6 meters when it's wrapped around like this.
Yes. So you can see here we've got all of the categories, and under each category you've got the commandments relating to that category. This is the first time we've kind of had something right in the middle.
Wow. So in terms of construction, how did you go about this?
When we first thought of it, the real challenge was how do we make a round structure without spending thousands of pounds? And so what we came up with in the end is a timber structure which is octagonal, and then we use the underlay that's in the main marquee, the main gar, to make it round. So you can see the round structure here. If I push it, you can see it's actually underlay giving it that round structure. And then you can see we've got this halo at the top. That was constructed using the same kind of wood that you have at the back of your wardrobe. And then we mounted the lights within there. And then finally, we put the banners on top to give it the final look.
So there are a lot of planning went into that. We started with 3D modeling the whole structure in order to determine how much timber was required, do all the calculations. Some of it was built pre-Ijtema, some of the more complicated cuts, the diagonal cuts to form the octagon, and then as a team we put it all together here on site a couple of days before Ijtema.
So wow, that was really incredible to see, and there's definitely a lot of effort that's gone into that, so I appreciate you showing me around.